Tonight, a Broken Hill home completely destroyed by fire, leaving a $200,000 damage bill. And a Port Pirie priest speaks out after his church was targeted by an alleged thief.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening. A Broken Hill home has been completely destroyed by fire, leaving a $200,000 damage bill. It took fireys nearly 3 hours to extinguish the blaze, which is believed to have been sparked by a heater.
Firefighters arrived to this house on Knox Street just after 7 o'clock on Saturday morning to find it completely alight.
We could see it from quite a while away with the smoke plume, and the house was fully involved when we got here.
The blaze is believed to have been sparked by a heater which was still on when the occupant left in the morning. A quick-thinking neighbour was able to turn off the home's power and remove nearby gas cylinders. After half an hour, firefighters had the blaze under control. 3 hours later, it was out. The damage catastrophic.
So we had 14 firefighters, so there's firefighters from Broken Hill South and from Broken Hill Central. And this one particularly had its issues. There was a lot of fibro asbestos inside the house.
The cost of the damage is estimated to be over $200,000. Local fireys say as the winter weather settles in, it's important to be very careful around any type of heater.
One of the main focuses we have is to keep equipment well away from heaters, so we say 1 metre from heaters.
It's also important to make sure you have multiple smoke alarms in your home. A working smoke alarm could mean the difference between life and death.
Have a working smoke alarm in your house so that if you have a fire, then you can you find out early enough and you can get out and ring emergency services.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Staying in Broken Hill, a man has been charged with drink driving nearly 3 times over the legal limit. The 30-year-old P-plater was stopped by police in the early hours of Saturday morning, shortly after he turned into Cummins Lane near Gosson Street. After testing positive to an RBT, he was taken back to the station where he recorded a blood alcohol reading of 0.135. He was charged with drink driving in the medium range and had his licence suspended. A Port Pirie priest has spoken out after his church was targeted by an alleged thief. Father Francis says it's not the first time churches in the Mid-North have been targeted, and he's relieved the alleged offender, a 43-year-old man, has been charged with sacrilege.
Breaking in through the side door and rummaging through the sacred space.
The sacristy door was open and the drawers were out. One of the chutes where we put money is really, destroyed.
A churchgoer heard a man inside and alerted police before the accused could make off with hundreds of dollars worth of equipment.
A laptop, and that's connected to the projector, and so an overhead projector, and all the leads that are connected to that.
Father Francis claims there has been a string of church robberies across the Mid-North over the past few months.
It is sad that this happens in our community, and I know that we're not the only church that has been victimized by theft.
The man faced the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court today via video link, charged with serious criminal trespass and dishonestly taking property without consent.
The church is now considering taking extra security precautions.
We're thinking of locking up, and we really don't feel comfortable with that.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Whyala's mayor is demanding answers after local company Ottaway Fabrication was placed into administration last month. Lynn Brewer claims the company's demise has left a number of small businesses across SA out of pocket.
Business as usual this morning at Ottaway's Whyala factory. Their jobs are safe after Ferrity International bought the workshop last month from E&A. However, the business itself, Ottaway Fabrication Proprietary Limited, wasn't and is now in administration.
It's been very strange the way it's happened, and that's what makes me question the whole process. How did this happen? How did it get into this state?
Pitch Partners has been appointed. E&A also owns 2 other Whyala businesses, Heavy Mech and Ice Engineering, and recently secured a federal government grant. Mayor Brewer says the administration has left local businesses high and dry.
We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars with some of these companies, and, you know, that's a huge input.
Southern Cross News understands Wyler's Career Employment Group, a non-for-profit trainee provider, is owed around $500,000. We also spoke to an Adelaide-based business today who confirmed they're owed a six-figure sum.
But at this stage, everybody really has no idea what will happen, whether they'll get any of their money back, how much they will get back.
Both E&A CEO Stephen Young and Pitch Partners did not return our calls. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
The Port Augusta City Council has enlisted the services of an international accounting company to conduct an internal organisational review. The review aims to identify any gaps within the council ahead of the November election.
With local elections looming, Port Augusta is looking to make sure it learns from lessons of the past 4 years.
I think it's timely that an organisational review was conducted.
The review has been prompted by the sale of a number of council-owned assets, including 2 aged care facilities. The task will be headed up by international accounting company BDO, which will assess council's entire operations.
Looking at things like service levels, pay levels, any gaps that might exist within the organisation.
The review process will involve an audit of council's finances and assets, as well as consultation with staff and key stakeholders. BDO will be measuring their findings against local councils across South Australia and interstate.
Just so that we have that very good understanding of how the services and staffing levels within Port Augusta compare objectively with other areas.
An independent report is expected to be in council's hands by the end of September, and they say the recommendations of that review will be acted on as soon as possible.
There'll obviously be things that we can do straight away and other things that might take a little bit more time.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Meantime, the Copper Coast Council has settled on its rate increase of just 3.8% for the 2018-19 business plan and budget. The slight increase will help pave the way for projects proposed for the region, including constructing a new main road through Moonta.
It's a not-so-shocking rate increase for residents.
Raise our rates through the general increases by 3.8%, and that will bring us into having a budget this year of $28.7 million.
The rate increase comes with a multi-budget plan to design and construct Bay Road,
which is the main arterial road that links the Moonta Township to Moonta Bay, and Francis Terrace, which is adjacent to that, and that will include not only the road surface but include a cycleway and stormwater drainage.
Money will be spent on repairing Wateroo swimming enclosure at Wallaroo, which was destroyed by another storm last year, as well as improving foreshores around the region.
Spend some money on seawalls at Moonta Bay and Port Hughes and breakwaters at Wallaroo that were involved with stormwater damage last year. So
there are also plans to reseal roads and 5Ks of footpaths.
That our footpaths are in a better condition, particularly for the elderly people in our community.
It's looking like a positive year ahead, with council predicting they'll break even this year. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill's main street was blocked off at the weekend after a 2-car collision at a busy intersection. The crash happened just before 6 o'clock on Saturday night at the traffic lights on Argent and Bromide Street. Luckily, no one was injured from the accident, but emergency services did need to use the jaws of life to help get a passenger out of the side-swiped Holden. Broken Hill's Country University Centre has been put through its paces over its first 4 months, with a high number of students now using its facilities. The centre allows uni students to study online from their hometown rather than move to a capital city.
A record number of student registrations in its first semester.
We're sitting at 76 registrations. We've just opened up first semester 2 and we've got about 84 registered students at the moment.
Broken Hill's Country University Centre opened its doors back in March and has since seen an influx of local students coming and hitting the books, or computers nowadays. Miss Keenan says the magic of the centre is it allows students who may not be able to travel away for higher education to stay at home and not worry about the stress and financial burden of relocating.
Cost of relocation is pretty high. I've been working with some students on some scholarship applications, and it's been really interesting to sit down and look at how much it is going to cost them for accommodation and textbooks and just general living expenses.
The centre has a number of features all aimed at giving local students the best chance of achieving.
Free Wi-Fi, we have extremely fast internet, we have all high-tech capabilities, video conferencing, everything that you need here. This centre provides somewhere that they can have that campus-like experience in their hometown.
The centre is now taking registrations for semester 2. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, Port Lincoln's local boxing gym puts on the ultimate night of entertainment. A report on the EPA's decision to fine Flinders Power for dust pollution issues on the Old Northern Power Station site will be presented at a Port Augusta Council's operations meeting tonight. Flinders Power was fined just over $2,000 for allowing fugitive dust emissions to leave the site in incidents dating back to December 2016. Details of dust events were submitted by Council to 2 Senate inquiries on ash dam remediation. The renewable energy company responsible for building Port Augusta's renowned Sundrop Solar Farm has been nominated for a national award from the Clean Energy Council. The Aalborg CSP solar project was selected in the innovation category for clear demonstrations of the project's positive impact on the clean energy industry. The winner of the award will be announced on July 31st. Filming of the Australian movie Locust has ramped up in Broken Hill. Production crews have finished their 2-week stint shooting in the Silver City and its surrounds at the weekend. The cast and crew say they had a wonderful time shooting in the beautiful outback locations. The film has been described as a Western noir crime thriller and is expected to be released in 2019. Port Lincoln's local boxing gym put on the ultimate night of entertainment, hosting its first ever Boxing SA amateur fight night at the weekend. With competitors travelling from across SA and interstate, it was many of the local fighters who stole the show.
A showcase of local talent, proving Port Lincoln's boxers are at the top of their game.
It's good to showcase what we do here in town at the Williams Boxing Gym, as well as invite other clubs over and put on a show for the locals.
While there were many local boxers who came home with a belt, it was teenager Thomas Corsten who was rewarded for his impressive performance, taking out the belt for Fight of the Night.
It was really great. He got me with some really good shots. He's a great fighter. Thankfully I came home with a win and I'm so grateful. Soil in front of my crowd, show them that Port Lincoln's, they make fighters. Make good fighters.
A matchup that was set to thrill spectators unfortunately didn't go ahead, with Australian boxing champion Terry Nicholas's opponent copping an injury before the evening. But that didn't stop Terry playing a key role on the night, coaching from the sidelines.
It was great to be down here. You know, we had one of our fighters on. Awesome show, well held and well run by the boys from Williams Boxing Gym. So I'm very glad I came down, even though I didn't take part.
For those who missed out on the night of thrills, blood and entertainment, there could be plans for more sanctioned fight nights in the future.
Back to the drawing board, hopefully we can do an annual, maybe a biannual, I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, hopefully an annual event. With this support, I think I can do it.
Casey Treloar, Southern Cross News.
Sandville gave the Yorke Peninsula a taste of league footy at the weekend, with the Kadina Football Club hosting the Indigenous Showdown round. The Crows defeated the Port Magpies by 10 goals, securing their first win of the year. Secretary of the Kadina Football Club, Dean, says it's been years in the making, with both teams very impressed by the facilities.
They said the Oval's probably one of the best ones they've played on for the year, and our change rooms are probably as good as any they've got in Adelaide.
Hundreds of locals turned up for the clash, with the Kadina Football Club now hoping to host more Sandville events. In other sport news, and Waroona Bay continued their winning form in Whyalla footy, downing Centrals. John Hunt joins us now, and John, it was a hard-fought win.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Abbey Bays knew that a win would all but secure them a final spot, while Centrals were playing to avoid the wooden spoon. Bays had to fight hard though, as Centrals pushed them all the way for an upset win. Windy conditions greeted both sides at Bennett Oval. Bays edged ahead at the main break before Centrals kicked 4-6 to a goal in the third to hold a 16-point lead. The upset didn't eventuate as Waroona Bay dominated the final term. With the wind behind them, they kicked 5 goals and kept the Roosters scoreless, securing a 17-point win. Dale Gerke kicked 3 for the winners, with the Bays all but certain to play finals footy. In the 1v2 clash on Saturday, North stunned ladder leaders West, coming from behind to win a thriller by 5 points, and 5 from Nathan Van Erken saw South cruise to a win over Rapina. Up in the Spencer Gulf, Solly's had a win over Central Augusta. 4th place Port upset Prop Brisbane, and in the top versus bottom clash, 1st place South were too strong for West in a 74-point win. In Broken Hill, South stayed undefeated after thrashing North, while Central had an easy 99-29 win over West. Over in the northern areas, 4 from Daniel Hill helped Crystal Brook edge Broughton Mandurah. Orroroo were too strong for Southern Flinders, and BMW came from behind at three-quarter time to defeat Jamestown Peterborough. On the York Peninsula, Baskerville defeated Adross in 83-63. Central York were too strong for Kadina, and Munter consolidated second, defeating the Crows. And in Great Flinders footy, there were wins for Ramblers, United Yolanda by plenty, and Tumby Bay. So another big round of matches, with most results having an impact on the makeup of the finals. And we'll be back tomorrow night with all the other sporting results from across the region.
Thanks, John, and stay with us after the break. I'll have all the local weather details. Welcome back. Well, it was a mix of sunshine and cloud around most centres today. A lovely 20 the max for Port Augusta and Whyalla, while it was a bit windy in Port Lincoln, 17 was the max. On the satellite now, and cloud crossing the state with a cold front is causing some patchy light rain and storms, but skies are clear in the north under a high pressure ridge. It's looking like a bit of a rough one on the waters tomorrow. Northwesterly winds up to 33 knots, seas at 2 metres with a south-southwesterly swell, and the sun will pop up at 7:22. It's looking like a mostly warm winter's day in most districts tomorrow. A gorgeous 20 the max in Port Augusta and Broken Hill. There will be some light patchy showers around the EP tomorrow, but they should ease throughout the day. 17, the magic number there. And it's looking like that patchy rain will clear for a gorgeous day on Wednesday, sunny and 20 the max for Woodna. The wet weather will return for Thursday as temps drop a little too, 16 the top for Port Lincoln and Cleve. And it's a mixed bag of weather to end the working week. The mercury is set to rise into the 20s by the middle of the week for Port Augusta and Whyalla. A beautiful sunny day too. But those showers will creep in on Thursday, just 16 the top for Kadina. It'll fine up for Friday as temps hover around the mid-teens. And lastly, sunny and 19 the top for Port Pirie on Wednesday. And again, wet weather is forecast to end the week as temps drop to just 14 degrees on Friday. Warm and windy in Broken Hill on Thursday, 22 the max, before temps dip down to 14. And that's the local news this Monday. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.